what are some tips that you can give to people when it comes to getting permits and working with the government? And let's be nice, because like they are there and they're people that we have to deal with at the end of the day. What are some actual, as opposed to yelling like, fuck, are you fucking stupid? What the hell is this? Because sometimes you feel that way.
That never will work.
Of course, sure. It won't. So what do you do to basically speed up to expedite the process whenever you're trying to get a permit?
It's tough. Like there's no brown envelope that doesn't work. That doesn't exist, you know? What you have to do is, fortunately, is just like follow the rules, but have a good team. Have experts, work with people who know what they're doing, who do this every day, and who will help that process, you know? Because you usually, first of all, it takes like, let's say 5 months before they actually look at your request for construction or something like that. Ugh. So you don't want to be applying for a permit and you didn't cross all your T's and dot your I's, because they're going to catch it and they're going to be like, this doesn't work. And then they don't say like, hey, they're not like, oh, can you just answer this question? It's like, no good, put it aside. And then you have to reapply and then wait again, you know? So
you have to really be sure.
Make sure you get your shit together the first time. And like, it's like you got one shot at the bat, you know, just like take your best shot and hopefully you don't miss.
That's interesting. And because it's like, for one of my buddies, I won't say who and I won't say the restaurant, but he was trying to open up a restaurant in a particular municipality. And so it comes down to a board of, I think it's like, 3 or 5 people or something. They meet once a month. He wanted to open up something in this particular municipality, and they waited until, so he had sent in his application. They had waited, I want to say 30 days, so till the last day. And then half an hour before the deadline to reapply, they go, oh, by the way, this part and this part isn't done correctly. And he goes, you've had 30 days to be looking at this. What, you couldn't have told me this earlier? Nah, sorry. And then so you had to fix it, wait another 30 days.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happened again the second time. And then he finally got it the third time. But that delay, that's a 60-day delay.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? That's 2 months. That's a lot of time, especially when you're trying to, for you're an already established business. You don't have to worry about, well, everyone has to worry about cash flow, but you have cash, you got things. If the project doesn't go up, you got 10 other projects going on. It's not the end of the world. But 60 days can be a long time.
But wait to like discourage entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Way to discourage people who have bright ideas. Like, I mean, like you said, I don't want to talk bad about anyone who has those, those
that job,
fonctionnaire jobs and stuff like that. But, we need them. They serve a purpose, but they're not the ones who are, changing, revolutioning the world and, creating these new services and new companies and that are, having an impact on the day to day. And if you have people who have great ideas and great opportunities, and sometimes it's like, it's a question of timing and being there at the right time, right place. And if you miss your opportunity because of bullshit like that, it's just like, what the fuck,
There's just to speak to this, and this is really interesting on a much bigger scale. And now I didn't read the full article, but the article, so Germany coming into the winter, remember, so basically Russia was the only country supplying natural gas for heating, right? Countries are companies in a way. They are, but that's besides the point. But so basically they were completely dependent on Russia, and then whatever ended up happening with Russia, and basically Germany and the rest of other parts of Europe were concerned that Russia was going to put the screws to them and say, this is the price. If you want to buy our energy, here's the price, take it or leave it.
Yeah. And
they probably would have. Now what happened is this: Germany, in that short time frame, I want to say 3-4 months, completely, and this is actually and it's great. What the government did, they said, okay, shit, we're in a lot of trouble here, and people are not going to be able to afford the heat. And when them being in power is on the line, because people don't like us, when the majority of the population can't afford to pay the heating bill, there's a really good chance that the politicians are going to be, see you later, get the hell out of here, right? And so what these guys did is they completely removed the red tape. They brought in private companies to basically say, we need natural gas. We need affordable natural gas, like now. Do whatever you got to do. You don't need permits. They completely expedited the process. The good thing now, though, is the fact that the population of Germany, they have affordable heating. So whether it's a cold for this winter, so whether it's going to be a cold winter or not a cold winter, it doesn't really matter that much. And the politicians are quite happy. I'm a little bit, I don't know. Whenever I see a politician, again, I think everything they do most of the time, not always, but most of the time, kind of comes down to them. It's always self-serving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that they're, you know what, that's besides the point. But the point that we're getting off topic. The point here is the fact that for the permits, they completely removed any type of red tape, and look what they were able to accomplish in that short a period of time. And so I think that it is a good point you're bringing up. You have to be nice, but that point you brought up where, you know, they do get in the way sometimes of innovation for sure. And it's a shame. I'm not saying we don't need regulation. We need regulation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Bitcoin. There's no regulation there. Look what's going on. There's a lot of things. Yeah. We need to have regulation, but there has to be a healthy balance. And I feel sometimes in Quebec and Ontario and just Canada in general, there's a lot of unnecessary red tape.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gets in the way of things. It doesn't benefit anybody. You know, have your regulation, but within reason.
Well, I mean, I know we've had this conversation offline. I know you said that this is not a politic discussion.
Yeah, we're not. I don't want to get into politics.
But yeah, if you don't have that red tape in a certain way, then there's people who, unfortunately, like natural, I don't want to say natural instinct, but like human behavior is, you know, greed and power, and they just like they'll take advantage of it, you know. So like COVID, for example, you know, when they kind of did a similar thing, like kind of got rid of a lot of processes to speed up the process on certain things. But I'm sure there were a couple, you know, my buddy has a app developing company, and we need to develop an app, so here's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's anyways, that's a whole other conversation. We're here to talk about business, Jamie. Business, not COVID.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to like beep that out now. Like, they're gonna fucking the algorithm's gonna say COVID. Cut it.
Yeah.
So okay, so here, let's get back to Federal Steel. So we're just talking about permits. I want to go back to Federal Steel. So Federal Steel, your revenue the past 3 years, so it's gone from let's say 4 million or 3.5, whatever it was. Now you're closer to 15 million. Congrats, by the way. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to see that. It's good to see, you know, family and friends have success.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a family-run business. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pros, like anything else. I always say this. There's a lot of pros to working with family. There's a lot of cons. Let's get into this, because there's a lot of people that do work with family.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take the stage.
What's the question?
What's it like?
What's it like?
What do you like? What do you think is a benefit to the business? What do you think is a benefit to Federal Steel? Bless you, Joey. What is a benefit to working with your family for Federal Steel? And what is a negative point to working with family when it comes to the company of Federal Steel? Let's start with the good. What do you like about it?
It's I think it's all good. It's all bad. It's a double-edged sword, and ultimately I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. The advantage.
And just before we get started, so I want to say, so there's your father.
Yeah.
There's your brother Andrew, and then Matthew's there too, and then
so the advantage is like so
and your mom,
my father who has been there for 40 somewhat years there. He started when he was in his 20s. You know, he's there. I see my dad every day. You know, like who is, you know, if you have a good relationship with your family, you know, who has the privilege to see their father every day, you know? So I have that. I work with my brother. I see him every day. My mom, who retired in her job, and she's working with us part-time, you know, if it's not for that, like I don't, you know, it's I feel bad saying it, but I gotta get better, but I don't call my mom all the time. Hey, how's it going? You know, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I see my mom more, you know. And my two other brothers, Matt and Tristan, are also working there part-time, directly, indirectly. But so I'm fortunate that I get to see my family.
So sorry to cut you off. So for the viewers, because your mom, your dad, and 4 boys.
We're 4 boys, yeah.
Every person works, whether it's full-time or part-time, works at Federal Steel.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. We're all there. And we're all working really hard, long hours. And then the disadvantage is,
We're all there.
Christmas is talking about work, everything's always about work, which is it's good and bad.
Yeah.
And then it comes also with like those is when your parents are telling you, when you're at home, when you're growing up, your parents tell you to do stuff, you're like, whatever, shut up, or whatever it is. But like now you have that same kind of chemistry, but like in work, but then there's other people there, and you got to be professional. You got to kind of like, you can't, so you
can't look at them and go, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I mean, like I said, ultimately at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, I think I'm fortunate to spend the amount of time, even though it's like we're each in our office and doing our thing, we still, see each other, talk, have meetings, go for lunch, do this, do that. It's like I said, I don't think there's a lot of people who have the luxury of doing that. And ultimately for me, I'm a very family oriented person. I love my family a lot, and I find it a privilege to have them around me. So cool. I appreciate it.
Cool. That's a very nice, I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. Aw, that's so cute. Cool. So it's like, so when it comes to, okay, so you like that. What's really, really good though? So when it comes to the actual, so that's more the emotional side of things.
Yeah.
It's good. When it comes to actually running the business, let's take emotion completely out of it. When it comes to actually running the business, what is good about having your family there?
Trust. Trust.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you run a business without having trustworthy people around you? Like when I talked about, being where we are today with,
and I just want to make it
part
clear,
of the team.
I just want to make it clear, and that's not to say you don't trust the other employees.
No, not at all.
Just,
obviously not. No, obviously if people are working with me, for me, whatever at Federal Steel, I trust them.
They're there for a reason, and if you didn't, they probably wouldn't be working for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's trust that that they'll, no matter what, at the end of the day, if shit hits the fan and we fuck up on something and we have to, God forbid, lay off people and like we're in a crisis mode, like I'll work for free. My brothers will work for free. It's like, we got to get it done. You have that, and you have that ability. That's obviously, you have people that you can rely on and you can trust to help you, and having those meetings. But those also meetings become very heated, when you're like, you get a little bit of that brother rivalry, and gets kind of escalates in a meeting being like, my way, and then it's kind of arguing a little bit there. So that's a challenging moment too. And sometimes you want to be respectful with your parents, and they have a different way of seeing things and doing things, and you have to kind of juggling that. It's not like an employee where you can just say, fuck off, you're fired or whatever, get out of here, I don't want to see you again. It's like, I'll see you next week for dinner, like it's unless you want to burn that bridge, but I don't recommend it. But so that is definitely a challenge too, like biting your tongue sometimes, and it kind of makes you, I guess, a little bit more I don't want to say flexible, but a little bit more like, you bite your tongue, you got to be like, okay, like work around. You can't always have it your way, when you're an entrepreneur and you're running the show, oftentimes it could be my way or the highway. But when you have those people there, they're there they'll give you a bit more push that an employee would not necessarily tell you, like, well, I don't agree with what you're doing,
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that, because sometimes you're like in your vision and you're like, this is how it has to be. And like somebody tells you, no, don't do that. You're like, fuck off. Like that's
and
the way.
sometimes it's good and sometimes it isn't.
Yeah. Some good feedback, bad feedback. You got to take a little bit of everything. And
because there's also like the other opposite, where sometimes, if you're working with a sibling or a family member that isn't always like that, sometimes they might just say, I don't agree with that for the sake of just saying that, because they're your brother, like I could see myself doing that sometimes, which isn't right. No, but it's not good. But just go, no, we're not doing it. We're doing it this way, just for no reason at all. I sound like an asshole right
power
now.
trip.
I guess. I don't know, maybe.
No, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's your business, it's your vision, it's your baby. It's like, you think you're doing it you think you have the answers, you know? It's like, I got the answers. It's clear in my head, but sometimes you need that outside perspective to be like, no, man, like, look around you, man. Everyone's going this way. What are you doing? Why are you going there? You know, like,
Yeah.
and you're just stuck in your way. And sometimes you need a little bit of harsh reality in your life.